This story is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to real people or events is purely coincidental. Emma sat on the stone edge of Bethesda Fountain, running her fingers along the carved angels she couldn't see, waiting for a man who would never show up. "Jake?" she called out softly when she heard footsteps approach. "Is that you? You're wearing the blue jacket, right?" Alexander Chen stopped mid-stride. He'd been walking past, escaping yet another suffocating wedding planning meeting with Victoria, when this woman, this stranger, spoke directly to him. She was looking in his direction, but not quite at him, and it took him only a second to understand why. The white cane resting against her leg, the way her eyes didn't quite track his movement. She was blind, and she thought he was someone else. He started, then stopped. He should correct her, obviously. But something about the nervous hope in her smile made him hesitate. "I'm sorry I'm talking so much," she continued, laughing at herself. "I do that when I'm nervous. My mom says I could talk to a wall, and the wall would try to leave." She tilted her head. "You sound different than I expected. Your voice is stiffer? Are you nervous too?" Alex opened his mouth, closed it. The truth was right there. "I'm not Jake. I'm a complete stranger in a $5,000 suit, and I have no idea who you're waiting for." Instead, he heard himself say, "A little nervous, yeah." Her face lit up. "Me too. I mean, we've been talking online for months, but meeting in person is—" She trailed off, then laughed again. "I'm doing it again, the talking thing. Sorry." Don't apologize," Alex said, and meant it. When was the last time someone had apologized for talking to him? Usually people calculated every word, weighing what he wanted to hear. She patted the stone beside her. "Want to sit? I promise I'll try to let you get a word in." He should leave. He should definitely leave. He had 17 unread emails, and Victoria was probably wondering where he'd disappeared to, though if past behavior was any indication, she probably hadn't noticed yet. Alex sat down. "So," Emma said, turning toward him with that slightly off-center gaze, "tell me what the park looks like right now. I want to know what you're seeing." He looked around Central Park on a Saturday afternoon. Joggers, tourists, a guy selling pretzels who was definitely overcharging. There's optimal weather conditions. High-foot traffic. The fountain is— "You sound like a tour guide," she interrupted, grinning. "Relax. I'm not grading you." Alex felt heat creep up his neck. "Right. Sorry. A kid is feeding pigeons even though there's a sign that says not to. An old couple is taking a selfie but holding the phone upside down." "Better," Emma said. "See, you're getting the hang of normal conversation." His phone buzzed in his pocket. "Marcus." He silenced it. "Popular guy," Emma teased. "Your friends miss you already?" Something like that. They sat in silence for a moment, and Alex realized it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the first time in months, maybe years, that silence hadn't felt like a strategy session, like someone waiting for him to make a decision or sign something. "I should probably tell you," Emma said softly. "I was starting to think you weren't coming. You stopped responding to my messages 2 weeks ago. I thought maybe—" She didn't finish the sentence. Alex's stomach dropped. This Jake, whoever he was, had ghosted her, and she'd shown up anyway. "I'm here now," he said, which was true, even if everything else was a lie. She smiled, and something in his chest cracked open. 3 weeks earlier, Emma had been sitting in her apartment in Queens, listening to her screen reader recite another message from Jake for the 3rd time. "Would love to meet up soon. Been thinking about you a lot." He sounds nice," her mother called from the kitchen, where she was aggressively chopping vegetables in that way that meant she was worried, but trying not to show it. "He is nice, Mom." "You haven't met him." "That's literally what I'm trying to do." Linda appeared in the doorway, wooden spoon in hand like a weapon. "I'm just saying, meeting someone from the internet is completely normal in 2024, Emma finished. "We've had this conversation. What if he's not who he says he is?" Emma navigated to her coffee maker by memory, running her hand along the counter edge. "What if he is? What if I stay home forever because of what if?" Her mother was quiet for a moment. Then, "If you're going, I'm driving you. Mom, non-negotiable. And you're sharing your location with me the entire time." Emma smiled despite herself. "Deal. But you're not allowed to actually show up and embarrass me." "I make no promises." That had been on a Thursday. By Friday night, Jake had stopped responding to messages. By Saturday morning, Emma had drafted and deleted 17 different texts, each one trying to sound casual about the fact that she was being ghosted. She went anyway. Because staying home felt like admitting defeat, like proving right every person who'd ever treated her like she was fragile. The subway had been a disaster. Someone had helped her onto the wrong train with aggressive cheerfulness, and by the time she'd realized and corrected course, she was 20 minutes late. She'd arrived at the fountain flustered and sweating, certain that if Jake had been there, he'd already left. And then someone had walked past and she'd taken a chance. That same Saturday morning, Alex had been sitting in the plaza with Victoria, watching her scroll through Pinterest boards of wedding decorations he'd never actually see because he'd be too busy working. "What about peonies?" Victoria asked, not looking up from her phone. "Sure. Or roses? Whatever you prefer." "You're not even listening." He wasn't. He was thinking about the quarterly earnings report and whether Chen Industries could absorb the cost of expanding into the European market without his father throwing a fit about fiscal responsibility. "Alex," Victoria set down her phone, "are you even interested in this wedding?" It was the first real question she'd asked him in months. "Our families have been planning this for years," he said, which wasn't an answer. "That's not what I asked." They looked at each other across the table. Two people who'd known each other since they were children, whose families had merged business interests when they were still in high school, who'd accepted their engagement as inevitable as their trust funds. "I don't know," Alex admitted. Victoria picked up her phone again. "At least you're honest, unlike my mother, who keeps pretending this is some grand love story." "Victoria, it's fine, we're fine. This is fine." She stood up. "I have a call with Tokyo in 20 minutes. Can you approve the flowers? Just pick one." She left without waiting for an answer. Alex sat alone at the table, looking at wedding decorations for a wedding that felt like a board meeting with better catering. His phone buzzed. Marcus, his CFO, and the closest thing he had to a friend who wasn't on his family's payroll. "Where are you, Plaza? Wedding stuff, so trapped. Want me to fake an emergency? I'll fake my own emergency." Alex stood up, left two 20s on the table, even though the coffee had been complimentary, and walked out. He had no destination, just needed air. Needed to be anywhere but planning a future that felt like a prison sentence dressed in expensive flowers. He ended up at Central Park at the Bethesda fountain, right as a blind woman asked him if he was wearing a blue jacket. "I should probably let you go," Emma said, after they'd been sitting there for 30 minutes. "My mom is probably tracking my phone and planning a rescue mission." Alex checked his watch without thinking, a habit from a life of calculated minutes. "Do you need a ride somewhere?" "I'm good with the subway, but thanks, Jake." The name hit him like cold water. "Jake." She kept calling him Jake. "Same time next week?" Emma asked, standing up and unfolding her cane with practiced efficiency. "Next week. Another chance to come clean, or another week of lying." "Yeah," Alex heard himself say. "Same time." She smiled, and he watched her navigate toward the subway entrance with a confidence that made his own certainty about everything feel embarrassing. His phone buzzed again. This time it was Victoria. "Where did you go?" "We had the florist at 4. Alex looked at the message, looked at Emma's retreating figure, and realized he'd just committed to something he couldn't explain and definitely couldn't justify. But for the first time in months, he wasn't thinking about quarterly earnings or wedding decorations or his father's disappointment. He was thinking about next Saturday. Tuesday morning, Emma went through her routine with the efficiency of someone who'd memorized every inch of her space. Coffee maker 3 steps from the sink. Favorite mug 2nd shelf left side. The apartment smelled like her mother's anxiety. She'd been cooking since 6 a.m., which meant she was worried about something. "You're stress baking," Emma called out. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong." "Mom, I can smell the 3rd batch of cookies." "What's wrong?" Linda appeared in the doorway. Emma knew this because her mother's perfume was distinct and she always paused dramatically before delivering news. "That boy, Jake, you're seeing him again?" "We're meeting for coffee on Saturday." "Very public, very safe. You don't even know what he looks like." Neither do you, but I'm pretty sure you've already formed an opinion." "I'm just saying, people can hide things online. What if he's not who he says he is?" Emma poured her coffee, felt the warmth of the mug against her palms. "Then I'll figure it out. I'm not stupid, Mom." "I never said you were stupid. I said you trust too easily." Would you prefer I don't trust anyone? Never date? Just stay here forever?" The silence stretched out. Then her mother sighed. "Just be careful and share your location." "Already did." "And Mom?" "What?" "The cookies smell like they're burning." Linda swore and rushed back to the kitchen. Emma smiled into her coffee. Friday afternoon, Alex was in his office when Marcus walked in without knocking, a privilege earned from 15 years of friendship and 5 years of making Chen Industries more profitable. "You smiled at your phone 3 times in that board meeting," Marcus said, dropping into the chair across from Alex's desk. "Want to tell me why?" "I was reading earnings projections." "Yeah, you never smile at earnings projections." You do that thing where your eye twitches and you start talking about optimization strategies. Alex closed his laptop. I don't have an eye twitch. You absolutely have an eye twitch. So, who is she? I don't know what you're talking about. Marcus grinned. Oh, it's definitely a she. When's the last time you smiled at Victoria's text? Never. The answer was never. But saying that felt disloyal even though it was true. I'm getting married in 6 months, Alex said instead. That's not an answer. That's a calendar reminder. Marcus leaned forward. Look, I've known you since Harvard. I've never seen you happy with Victoria. Comfortable? Sure. Compatible on paper, definitely. But happy? Alex thought about Emma calling him Jake, laughing at her own jokes, touching his watch, and asking if he'd saved up for it. That small moment of genuine curiosity about who he was, or who she thought he was. It's complicated, Alex finally said. It's always complicated with you. When's the last time you did something simple, something you actually wanted? Alex didn't answer. Marcus stood up, heading for the door. Just be careful, whatever it is, and maybe figure out what you want before you hurt someone. After Marcus left, Alex pulled up his phone and looked at the text Emma had sent that morning. Looking forward to Saturday. No pressure on the conversation thing. I promise to let you talk this time. He'd read it 17 times. Saturday, Alex arrived at the fountain 30 minutes early. He'd rehearsed what to say. Hi, I'm not actually Jake. I'm a complete stranger who lied to you because your sincerity made me feel human for the first time in years, and I didn't know how to correct the situation without losing it. Yeah, that would go well. Emma arrived exactly on time, navigating the park like she owned it. Jake. She smiled in his direction. You're early. I can tell because there's no one else breathing that anxiously near the fountain. He laughed despite himself. Is my breathing that obvious? To me it is. I'm really good at sound. She sat down beside him. So, coffee? There's a place on Columbus Avenue that makes the best. Actually, you probably already know it. You recommended it in your messages. Panic. Jake had recommended a coffee place. Alex had no idea which one. Remind me which one, he said carefully. The one with the aggressively friendly barista and the weird art on the walls? Right, that one. They walked to Columbus Avenue, and Alex realized he was letting her set the pace, following her lead even though she couldn't see where they were going. She moved with complete confidence, tapping her cane lightly, navigating the sidewalk like she had a GPS in her head. The coffee shop was small, crowded, exactly the kind of place Alex never went, because he usually had assistants bring him coffee in monogrammed cups. What do you want? Emma asked when they reached the counter. I'll get it. I asked you out, I'm buying. Plus, I'm pretty sure you're broke from that fancy watch. She grinned. What do artists even drink? Something pretentious with oat milk? Black coffee is fine, Alex said, amused despite the growing guilt. Emma ordered, describing the menu from memory. They have a seasonal pumpkin thing if you're into that. It's April. Exactly. I have no idea why I said that. See? This is what I do. I just say things. She accepted their coffees from the barista, handed one to Alex. Okay, your turn. Tell me what this place looks like. Alex looked around. Optimal lighting. Strategic table placement for maximum customer. You're doing the tour guide thing again. Sorry. There's someone in the corner working on a screenplay who definitely hasn't showered in 3 days. The art on the walls looks like a child was given too much red paint and no supervision. The barista is staring at us because we're taking up space at the counter. Better, Emma laughed. See, you're getting good at this. They found a table by the window. Emma immediately started narrating. Tell me what the park looks like from here. You ask me that a lot, because I like how you describe things. When you're not being weird and corporate about it. Corporate. The word hit him. Do I sound corporate? Sometimes, but then you relax and you sound like a person. She sipped her coffee. So, 3 weeks of silence. Want to tell me what happened? This was it. The moment to come clean. Family emergency. Alex lied, because apparently he was committed to being a terrible person. I'm sorry I didn't explain sooner. Is everything okay now? Getting there. Emma reached across the table, found his hand. I'm sorry you went through that, and I'm glad you're back. Her hand was warm. He felt like the worst person in Manhattan. Tell me something random, Emma said, pulling her hand back. Something you've never told anyone. That's a big question. Okay, something small then. What's the weirdest thing in your apartment? Alex thought about his penthouse, the minimalist furniture, chosen by an interior designer, the art he'd never really looked at, the kitchen he'd never used. I have a cereal collection, he said, which was true. Marcus had bought him 12 different cereals as a joke about his inability to cook, and they were still sitting in his pantry. Why? A friend thinks I can't take care of myself. Can you? I can take care of a multi-million-dollar company. Apparently I can't boil water. Emma laughed. Really laughed. The kind that made other people in the coffee shop look over. Okay, I need details. Are we talking about actual water in a pot? There may have been an incident with pasta. You burned pasta? I set off 3 smoke alarms. She was still laughing. That's actually impressive. How did you survive college? I had a meal plan, and then I had assistants. The words slipped out before he could stop it. Emma tilted her head. Assistants? I meant roommates, who helped with cooking. You're weird, Emma said, but she was still smiling. I like it. They sat there for 2 hours, talking about nothing important. Emma told him about learning to navigate the subway system by memorizing announcements. Alex told her about Marcus's terrible business jokes. Neither of them mentioned anything real. Her blindness, his engagement, the fact that every word out of his mouth was a lie. When they finally left, Emma touched his arm. Same time next week? I'd like that. Good, because I'm starting to like our weird coffee dates. But she left, and Alex stood on the sidewalk watching her go, feeling like he'd just stepped into something he couldn't step out of. His phone buzzed. Marcus, lunch tomorrow? I'm buying if you tell me why you're smiling at your phone again. Alex pocketed his phone and walked back to his building, where his doorman greeted him by name, and his elevator required a key card, and his apartment had a view of the city that cost more than most people's houses. Nothing in his life was simple except for the hour he'd just spent pretending to be someone else. Days turned into weeks. They met every Saturday, sometimes at the fountain, sometimes at the coffee shop, once at the Museum of Natural History where Emma narrated the dinosaur exhibit through touch and sound in a way that made Alex see it differently than he ever had. On their 4th date, Alex made the mistake of trying to cook. Marcus found him surrounded by smoke-burnt pasta and 3 open tabs on his computer showing how to boil water. You're a disaster, Marcus said, opening windows. I delegate effectively. You can't delegate your way through dating someone. Well, I'm not. We're just. Please tell me you've told her the truth. Alex didn't answer. Marcus closed the laptop. Man, what are you doing? I don't know. When's the last time you were this happy? I don't know that either. That's the problem, Marcus said quietly. You're so busy trying to fix everything, you don't even know what makes you happy. Day 23, Saturday morning, Emma invited him grocery shopping in Queens. Alex stood in a supermarket, completely overwhelmed. Pick a cereal, Emma said, amused. Any cereal. Alex stared at 47 boxes, each one screaming claims about fiber and heart health and part of a complete breakfast. He could negotiate billion-dollar deals. He could read a balance sheet in 3 minutes. He could not choose a cereal. It's cereal, not a merger, Emma said, laughing. There are too many options. Welcome to how normal people live. She grabbed a box at random, put it in their cart. There, decision made. Moving on. They walked through aisles. Emma navigated from memory, occasionally brushing her hand along shelves to orient herself. Alex pushed the cart and tried not to think about how he usually had groceries delivered and had never once considered that shopping could be pleasant. You're quiet, Emma said. Just thinking. About how I've been lying to you for 3 weeks and every day makes it worse. About how I've never done this before, he said instead, which was at least partially true. Grocery shopping? Jake, what do you eat? I usually order in a lot. Artist life, huh? Too busy creating to cook? Something like that. They bought too many things, including the random cereal and a pie that Emma insisted they needed, despite having no plan to eat pie. Alex paid with cash because credit cards left paper trails, and Emma teased him about being old-fashioned. On the subway back to her place, he swiped his Metro card wrong 3 times. How long have you lived here? Emma asked, grinning. Let me guess. Uber? When I can afford it. The lie sat between them like a third passenger. Day 24, Sunday. Emma brought him to family dinner. Linda opened the door with a wooden spoon and suspicion. So you're Jake? Mom, Emma warned. What? I'm just saying hello. Linda stepped aside. Come in. Wipe your feet. What do you do again? They sat at a small table in a small kitchen that somehow felt bigger than Alex's penthouse. Linda served food and interrogation in equal measure. Graphic design, you said? Freelance, mostly. Freelance. Linda made it sound like a crime. So you work from home? Coffee shops, usually. Why are your clothes so expensive? Emma kicked her mother under the table. Mom! What? I'm just asking. Those are nice shoes. Alex looked down at his Ferragamos. I save up? For shoes? Mom! After dinner, Alex helped with dishes because Emma insisted. He'd never washed a dish by hand in his life. Linda watched him rinse soap incorrectly twice. You're supposed to rinse the soap off, Emma said, grinning. I'm aware. Are you, though? Linda cracked a small smile. At least he tries. And it was the closest thing to approval he'd gotten all night. Later, walking Emma to the subway, she looped her arm through his. Sorry about my mom. She's protective. She cares about you. She thinks everyone's suspicious, including you. Is she wrong? Emma stopped walking. Are you suspicious? This was another moment to tell the truth. Everyone has secrets. That's a weird answer. It's an honest one. She studied him, or would have if she could see him. I think you're more complicated than you let on, Jake. Maybe. I like complicated. They reached the subway entrance. Emma turned to face him, her hand still on his arm. I'm falling for you. Is that weird to say? Alex's chest tightened. Not weird. Good. Because I think about you all the time, and it's starting to affect my ability to focus on literally anything else. She laughed. God, I'm doing the talking thing again. I like when you talk. Even when I say ridiculous things. Especially then. And she smiled, squeezed his arm, and disappeared into the subway. Alex stood there long after she'd gone, feeling the weight of every lie he'd told. Day 31, Monday. Victoria noticed he'd been absent. You missed 3 wedding planning meetings. I've been busy. Busy with what? You've been leaving the office early. You're never on your phone. She studied him. Are you sick? I'm fine. Then what? Alex couldn't explain it to Victoria because he couldn't explain it to himself. How do you tell your fiancé that you've been pretending to be someone else because it's the only time you feel real? I'm just clearing my head for 2 weeks. If you want to call off the engagement, I didn't say that. And Victoria sat down across from him. I'm just trying to figure out if you're having a nervous breakdown or an affair. Neither. Well, then what? I don't know. Victoria looked at him for a long moment. You've changed. I don't know if that's good or bad yet. She left, and Alex sat in his office staring at his computer screen, thinking about Emma asking him to describe the park, Emma laughing at his terrible cooking, Emma trusting him completely while he lied to her face. His phone buzzed. Emma. Random thought. Do you ever feel like you're living the wrong life? Alex stared at the message for 10 minutes before responding, all the time. Day 35, Friday. They got caught in rain during their 5th date. They ran for cover under a bodega awning, both soaked. You didn't check the weather? Emma laughed, wringing out her hair. I don't usually need to. What, you have a weather guy? The joke hit too close. Something like that. She must have heard something in his voice because she softened. Hey, I'm just teasing. Rain is nice anyway. It sounds like music. They stood there under the awning, listening to rain drum against pavement. Emma tilted her face up, smiling. This is my favorite sound, rain on concrete. It's so specific to the city. Alex watched drops slide down the awning, watched Emma stand there completely at peace, and felt something crack deeper in his chest. I need to tell you something, he started. Hold that thought. Emma's phone rang. Sorry, it's my mom. She only calls during dinner if, Mom, what's wrong? Alex watched her face change from relaxed to worried to scared. I'm coming. Right now. Don't move. She ended the call, already reaching for her cane. I have to go. My mom, she felt dizzy at work. She says she's fine, but she sounded weird. I'll come with you. You don't have to. I'm coming. They got a cab. Alex gave the driver Linda's address in Queens, and Emma didn't question how he knew it. She was too worried. At the apartment, Linda was sitting on the couch, pale, but insisting she was fine. I just need to sit down for a minute. You look gray, Emma said, her hand finding her mother's arm. We're calling a doctor. I'm fine. You're not. Alex, does she look fine? Alex studied Linda, the slight tremor, the shallow breathing, the way she was holding her chest. We should go to the hospital. I don't need. Mom, please. And Linda finally nodded. Day 43, hospital, 10 p.m. Linda had cardiac arrhythmia, treatable, but it required monitoring and stress reduction, and absolutely no more working 60-hour weeks. Emma sat in the waiting room shaking. Alex brought her terrible vending machine coffee and sat beside her. Thank you for being here, she said quietly. There's nowhere else I'd be. She leaned her head on his shoulder, exhausted. They sat like that for an hour, not talking, just existing in that fluorescent hospital quiet. I'm scared, Emma whispered. She's going to be okay. How do you know? Because she's Linda. She's too stubborn not to be. Emma laughed, watery but real. That's true. When Linda was finally settled and sleeping, Alex made calls. Not to Victoria or his office, but to his personal physician, asking for recommendations. Dr. Morrison, cardiac specialist, best in Manhattan. I'll have him consult, Dr. Morrison said. As a favor. Thank you. Alex, this is personal. Very. He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he researched cardiac care, treatment options, stress management, and then, because he was already too deep to stop, he started researching experimental treatments for vision impairment. Day 44, Sunday morning, Alex showed up at the hospital with coffee, Emma's order, exactly right, and bagels. How did you know my coffee order? You told me, 3 weeks ago. Emma's expression shifted, something soft and surprised. You remembered. I remember everything you tell me. She took the coffee, and her hand brushed his. That's really sweet, Jake. The name landed like a punch every time. Days blurred together. Linda came home with strict instructions to rest. Emma was terrified but trying not to show it. Alex found himself making excuses to visit, bringing groceries, fixing things that broke, being useful because he couldn't be honest. Marcus cornered him on day 40. You need to tell her. I know. Before someone else does. I know. Then why haven't you? Because Alex stopped. Because he was a coward. Because he liked being Jake more than being Alexander Chin's CEO, engaged to Victoria Hastings, living a life that felt like someone else's blueprint. Because if I tell her, it ends. And I don't want it to end. Marcus's expression softened. Man, you're in love with her. Alex didn't confirm or deny it. Didn't need to. But you're still engaged to Victoria. I know. And you're still lying about who you are. I know. And so what's the plan? Keep lying forever? Hope she never Googles you? She can't Google me. She can't see her mother, can, you idiot? What happens when Linda types your fake name into a search engine, or your real name into a hospital form? Alex had been avoiding that thought. Now it crashed into him like cold water. I have to tell her. Yeah, you do. Day 42, Friday. Emma called him late. Can't sleep. Me neither. Tell me something boring so I'll doze off. They talked for 2 hours about nothing. Cereal preferences, childhood pets, whether pigeons are secretly plotting world domination. At 1 a.m., Emma's voice had gone soft and sleepy. Jake? Yeah? I really like you. I really like you too. Promise me you're not secretly weird. Like serial killer weird. I promise I'm not a serial killer. Good, because I'd be really disappointed if you turned out to be a murderer. I have terrible judgment with murderers. He laughed despite everything. Go to sleep, Emma. Same time tomorrow? Always. After she hung up, Alex sat in his penthouse at 1 a.m. staring at the city lights, feeling more alone than he'd ever felt. His phone buzzed. Marcus, tell her tomorrow. I mean it. Alex stared at the message. Typed, I will. He didn't. Day 47, Wednesday. Emma was rereading her old messages from Jake when something strange happened. A message appeared from Jake's original account, the one that had been silent for 7 weeks. I'm so sorry I disappeared. Family emergency. Grandmother passed away. Can we finally meet? Emma stared at her phone, tried to make sense of it. She texted back, what are you talking about? We've been meeting every Saturday. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. What? I've been offline for 2 months. I never met you at the park. Emma's world tilted. She called Jake, the number she'd been calling for 7 weeks. The phone rang, and rang. Straight to voicemail. She texted, who are you? Day 47, 5 p.m. Alex walked out of a board meeting to 7 missed calls and 12 texts from Emma. Her last message. Who are you? Everything stopped. The hallway, the elevator ding, his heartbeat. He called her. No answer. Texted. Please call me. I can explain. Emma, I don't want to hear your voice anymore. Alex stood in the hallway of Chin Industries, surrounded by employees who walked past like he was furniture, and felt his world collapse. Marcus found him an hour later, still standing there. It's over, isn't it? Marcus said quietly. The real Jake messaged her. Jesus. She knows. She doesn't know everything, but she knows I'm not him. So what are you going to do? Alex looked at Marcus. I'm going to the hospital. I'm going to tell her everything, and she's going to hate me. Probably. I deserve it. Definitely. Alex grabbed his coat, his keys, his phone with 17 messages from Victoria that he ignored. He got in his car and drove to Queens, rehearsing what to say, knowing no words would be enough. Day 48, Thursday morning, the hospital called Emma. We have good news. Your treatment has been approved and funded by an anonymous donor. Emma sat on her couch, processing. What treatment? The experimental vision restoration procedure. Doctor. Morrison submitted your case last week. I didn't. Who? The donor wished to remain anonymous. But the funding covers the full treatment series. We can schedule your first consultation for next week if I need to know who did this. I'm sorry, that information is confidential. Emma ended the call. She knew who it was. Of course she knew. He was trying to fix it with money, trying to solve the problem he'd created by throwing cash at it. She called the number she'd been calling for 7 weeks. No answer. She tried again. Nothing. So she waited. Because he'd come. She knew he would. And when he did, she'd finally hear his real voice. Day 48, afternoon. Linda was on her laptop. Emma heard the typing stop. What are you doing, Mom? Looking up that boy, Jake. You won't find him. Why not? Because that's not his name. Linda's typing paused. What? The real Jake messaged me yesterday. He's been offline for 2 months. Family emergency. He never met me at the park. Then who? Linda's typing resumed. Faster now. Then, oh my God. What? Emma, I searched his name, the one he put on the hospital forms. Alexander Chen. Who is he? He's a billionaire, CEO, and he's engaged. The words landed like stones. Engaged, Emma repeated. To Victoria Hastings. Their wedding is in 6 months. Emma sat very still. Billionaire, CEO, engaged. None of those words matched the man who'd burned pasta, who'd struggled with a MetroCard, who'd listened to her talk for hours about nothing. He lied about everything, Emma said quietly. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I need a minute. Emma went to her room, closed the door, and sat on her bed. She didn't cry. Crying felt too simple for this. Day 49, Friday, the real Jake showed up at the hospital. Small, earnest, with a portfolio of actual graphic design work. I'm so sorry, he said. My grandmother passed away in Oregon. I was with family. I didn't have my phone. I should have said something before I left. Everything happened so fast. Emma listened to his voice, higher than the one she'd been hearing, younger, less certain. You sound different than I expected. Do I? Sorry, is everything okay? Your texts were confusing. Linda was in the room, watching Emma's face. There's been a misunderstanding. 20 minutes later, the door opened. Emma heard footsteps, knew immediately they weren't Jake's. Different weight, different pace, the exact pattern she'd memorized over 7 weeks. Emma. That voice. The one she'd been hearing in her sleep. She turned toward him. Who are you? What's your real name? Alexander Chen. Alex. I'm a CEO. I run my family's company. And I was engaged. The room went silent. Get out, Emma said quietly. Please, let me explain. Get out. Emma, I never meant to. You lied about everything. Your name, your job, your life. You're engaged. Her voice cracked. You're engaged and you were seeing me? It's not Victoria and I don't care what your relationship with Victoria is like. You lied to me. Every word, every moment. You let me trust you. You let me. She stopped. Just leave. Alex stood there, probably wanting to say more. She could hear his breathing, uneven and desperate. Linda's voice cut through. She asked you to leave. I love you, Alex said. And it landed like the worst possible thing he could have said. You don't get to say that, Emma whispered. You don't get to lie for 7 weeks and then say you love me and expect it to mean anything. I'm sorry. I don't want your sorry. I want you gone. She heard his footsteps, slow and heavy, walking away. The door closed. Emma sat very still. The real Jake was still there, confused and uncomfortable. I should probably go too, he said quietly. Thank you for explaining. I'm sorry you got caught up in this. After Jake left, Linda pulled Emma into a hug. Emma didn't cry. Not yet. She was too angry, too hurt, too betrayed. How could I not see it? Emma said, the bitter irony hitting her. How did I not know? Because you trusted him. That's not your fault. I fell for a lie. That you fell for a person, who that person actually is. I don't think even he knows. Day 50 Saturday, Alex sat in his penthouse, staring at nothing. Marcus arrived with takeout. She won't answer my calls. Did you expect her to? No. Marcus set down food neither of them would eat. What did you expect? I expected to fix it. I always fix things. You can't fix this with money or power. You already tried. That anonymous donation, that just made it worse. I was trying to help. You were trying to control the situation. Same thing you always do. Marcus sat down. You know what you should have done? Told her the truth on day one? Taken the pain then instead of multiplying it. I know. Then why didn't you? Because... Alex stopped. Because for the first time in my life, Someone saw me, really saw me. Not my money, not my company, not my last name. Just me. And I didn't want to lose that. Oh, but she was seeing Jake, not you. Jake is me, the parts I like. The parts that aren't my father's programming. Marcus shook his head. That's still a lie, man. You can't just show someone the good parts and hide the rest. They sat in silence. For what it's worth, Marcus said, I think she really liked you. The real you, not the fake artist guy. She liked a fiction? Maybe, but some of it was real. The hours you spent talking, the way you listened, the panic when her mom collapsed. That was real. It doesn't matter. She'll never forgive me. Probably not, but you still owe her the truth. All of it, even if it doesn't change anything. Day 51, Sunday, Victoria and Alex met for brunch. Her mother had shown her photos, Alex with Emma, taken by some society gossip site that tracked Manhattan's elite. So, Victoria said, not looking up from her phone, you want out. I'm sorry. Don't be. I've wanted out for 2 years. She finally looked at him. You could have just said so. Would have saved us both time. Your family will be fine. My mother will throw a fit. Your father will throw a bigger fit, but they'll get over it. She sipped her mimosa. Was she worth it? She hates me. That's not what I asked. Alex thought about Emma laughing at his terrible cooking, Emma touching his watch, Emma asking him to describe the world, Emma trusting him completely. Yes. Then you're an idiot for letting it be a secret. Victoria signed the check without asking for his card. But at least you're an honest idiot now. After she left, Alex sat alone at brunch for the first time in his life, without an engagement, without a plan, without any idea how to fix what he'd broken. Day 52, Monday, Emma sat with her mother in Queens, trying to process everything. I keep thinking about all the moments that felt real, Emma said. His voice, when he talked about being stuck. The way he'd describe things. Not as facts, but as feelings. The morning he brought coffee and knew my exact order. Those were real, Linda said gently. His feelings were real, his lies were also real. Both things can be true. How do I forgive someone for that? I don't know that you do, or that you should. Emma thought about the anonymous donor paying for her vision treatment. The surgery that could give her partial sight. Money that came from the man who'd lied to her for 7 weeks. He paid for the treatment, Emma said. I know. I don't want anything from him. This isn't about him. This is about you. Don't let his actions take this chance from you. Emma sat with that. I'll think about it. Day 53. Tuesday, Alex went to Bethesda Fountain with a handwritten sign. Emma, I'm sorry. He sat for 3 hours. Strangers took photos. Someone posted it online with the caption, Billionaire in his flop era. By evening, it had 17,000 likes. Emma didn't come. He went back the next day. And the day after that, she never came. Day 60, week 9. Emma finally texted, Not Alex, Marcus. Tell him if he wants to talk, here are my conditions. Public places only. He answers every question. I can leave anytime. No guilt. If he agrees, Wednesday at 2 p.m., coffee shop on Columbus. Marcus showed Alex the message. She's giving you a chance. She shouldn't. But she is. Don't waste it. Day 63, Friday. Emma sat across from Alex at the coffee shop where they'd had their first date. But this time she wasn't smiling. This time she looked tired. Tell me about the surgery payment, she said without preamble. I paid for it. $350,000. Through my lawyer to keep it anonymous. Why? Because I wanted to help. Or because you wanted to fix your guilt? Direct hit. Both. Emma's jaw tightened. You decided for me, again. You saw a problem and threw money at it without asking what I wanted. I'm sorry. That's not enough. You don't get to play savior after lying to me for 7 weeks. That's not love, Alex. That's control. He flinched at hearing his real name from her. You're right. I know I'm right. They sat in painful silence. What else did you lie about? Emma asked. Everything. My name, my job, where I live. The apartment in Brooklyn I said I had. I live in a penthouse in Tribeca. The struggling artist thing, I'm the CEO of Chen Industries. The normal relationship with my family, my father built an empire, and I'm expected to maintain it. On the engagement? It was complicated. I ended it after everything came out. Emma processed that. How long were you engaged while seeing me? 6 months before? But it wasn't. Victoria and I weren't in love. It was a family arrangement. Did she know about me? After, not during. So you lied to her too? Yes. And your friend, Marcus. Did he know? He found out after 2 weeks. He told me to tell you the truth. But you didn't. No. Emma took a shaky breath. Did any of it mean anything? The conversations, the time together? Was any of it real? This was the question that mattered most. All of it was real, Alex said. Every conversation, every moment, those were the most real things I've ever experienced. I lied about my name and my job, but I never lied about how I felt. How am I supposed to believe that? You're not. I destroyed your trust. I can't ask you to believe anything I say. Then why are you here? Because you asked me to be. Because I owe you the truth, even if it doesn't change anything. They sat in silence again. Emma's coffee had gone cold. I'm going to do the surgery, Emma said finally. Alex's head snapped up. You are? Not because of you, because of me. My mother was right. I can't let your actions take this chance from me. She stood up. This doesn't mean I forgive you. I know. And I don't want to see you again. Okay. She left. Alex sat alone at the table, watching her navigate out the door, and felt the weight of everything he'd lost. Day 70, week 10, they met again. Emma's condition. They meet in Central Park, on a bench, far from Bethesda Fountain. Tell me about the engagement, she said. Everything. So Alex did. He told her about Victoria, about families that had been planning their merger since childhood, about a wedding that felt like a board meeting with better flowers. When did you end it? After everything came out, day 51. She processed that. Wait, so you were still engaged when we had that confrontation? Technically, yes. You couldn't even end your engagement before trying to apologize to me? I didn't think... No, you didn't. Her voice was cold. You were still keeping one foot in your old life while asking me to trust you with my feelings. You're right. I was a coward. Stop agreeing with me. What do you want me to say? I want you to explain why you thought it was okay to ask for my forgiveness while you were still engaged to someone else. Alex had no answer, because there was no good answer. Emma stood up. I can't do this. Emma, no. I came here thinking maybe, but you can't even get the basics right. You want forgiveness, but you couldn't even break up with your fiancé first. She laughed, bitter. I'm such an idiot. You're not. Don't, just don't. She left. Alex sat on the bench, watching her go, knowing he'd failed again. Day 77, week 11, Emma agreed to one more meeting. Alex had spent the week talking to his lawyer, to Victoria's family, burning every bridge to prove a point. I ended the engagement properly, he said when they met. Publicly, both families know. Victoria and I spoke honestly. She didn't want it either. We'd just been too trapped to admit it. My father is furious. My mother is disappointed. The business magazines are calling it a scandal. Emma listened. I'm not telling you this to win points, Alex continued. I'm telling you because you asked what I wanted, and I want to stop living someone else's life. Even if that means losing you. You already lost me. I know. They sat quietly. Do you regret it? Emma asked. Meeting me? I regret lying. I don't regret meeting you. But maybe I regret meeting you. The words hit harder than he expected. I understand. Do you? Because I keep thinking if you just told me the truth on day one. Day one, Alex. Hi, I'm not Jake. I am a complete stranger who was walking past. Would I have been disappointed? Yeah. But would I have been devastated? No. Would I have trusted you if you'd been honest? Maybe. We'll never know now. I know. Stop saying I know. Say something real. I was scared, Alex said quietly. I've spent my whole life being Alexander Chen, CEO, heir to my father's empire. And then you mistook me for someone ordinary, someone without all the armor. And for the first time ever, someone wanted to know me. Not what I could do for them, not my last name, not my money, just me. And I was terrified that if I told you the truth, you'd only see the CEO, not the person. Emma's expression softened slightly. That's real. It's also selfish, because I chose my comfort over your right to know who you were talking to. Yeah, you did. More silence. I'm doing the surgery in 2 weeks, Emma said. I hope it goes well. I don't want you there. I wouldn't expect you to. She stood to leave, then paused. Alex? Yeah? The person I met, the one who described the park, who burned pasta, who sat with me in the hospital, was that real? That was the only real thing about me. She nodded and left. Day 84, week 12. Emma sat with her mother, discussing the surgery. Are you sure? Linda asked. No, but when am I ever sure about anything? Emma smiled slightly. The treatment is there. Might as well try. Do you want to tell him? No, this isn't about him. Linda squeezed her hand. You're braver than I ever gave you credit for. I'm terrified. That's what makes it brave. Day 91, week 13, surgery day? Emma went through it without telling Alex, without fanfare. Just her and her mother and a team of doctors who promised nothing but possibilities. The treatment was experimental, partial vision maybe, shapes and light and shadows if they were lucky. Dr. Morrison was kind. This won't be like the movies. It's not a miracle. It's incremental improvement. But for some people, seeing even shapes can change everything. I'll take incremental, Emma said. Day 98, week 14, Alex and Emma met again. He'd sent a text. I know you don't want to hear from me, but I need to tell you something. She agreed to meet, curious despite herself. I sold my share of Chin Industries, Alex said. Emma sat very still. What? Not all of it. Enough to keep my father from destroying me legally, but enough that I'm no longer CEO. I'm starting my own company, smaller, actually mine. Why are you telling me this? Because you asked me once if I ever felt like I was living the wrong life, and the answer was yes, so I'm trying to fix that. This isn't to win me back? No. This is me trying to be the person I pretended to be, someone who makes his own choices. Emma processed that. How did your father take it? He disinherited me, called me an embarrassment, said I was throwing away my future for a fantasy. Are you? Maybe, but at least it's my fantasy. They sat quietly. I'm proud of you, Emma said finally, for what it's worth. It's worth a lot, but I'm still not ready to forgive you. I know. You need to stop saying I know. He caught himself. Noted. Day 105, week 15. Emma asked Alex to meet her mother. Again. Are you sure? Alex asked. No, but I think you owe her an apology, a real one. So Alex went to Queen's, sat at Linda's table, and faced her judgment. You lied to my daughter, Linda said. No preamble. Yes. You played games with her heart. Yes. You made her trust you while you were living an entire false life. Yes. Linda studied him. Why should I believe you're any different now? You shouldn't. I can't prove it with words. I can only show you over time. If you hurt her again, you'll destroy me. I understand. I was going to say I'll never forgive you. But sure, destruction works too. And they sat in uncomfortable silence. Then Linda sighed. She talks about you, even now. Says you described things in a way that made her see them differently. She taught me to see things differently too. That's poetic, but doesn't change the fact that you lied. No, it doesn't. Linda poured more coffee. Emma wants to try again. Did she tell you that? Alex's head snapped up. No. Well, don't get excited. She said she wants to try, seeing if trust can be rebuilt. Not that she's forgiven you. Not that everything's fine, just trying. I'll take trying. You'll take whatever she's willing to give. And if you mess this up again, I don't care how rich you were or what company you run, I will make your life hell. Understood. Day 108, week 15, Emma's final surgery was successful. Not perfect. She could see shapes, light and shadow, blurred faces, but it was something. The first person she wanted to tell wasn't Alex. It was her mother, then her friend from college. Then, hours later, she sent Alex a text. It worked, kind of. I can see shapes. Alex stared at the message for 20 minutes before responding. That's incredible. I'm so happy for you. Emma, I'm not ready to see you yet, but I thought you should know. Alex, thank you for telling me. Day 112, week 16, Emma finally asked Alex to meet her at Bethesda Fountain. Full circle? He asked when he arrived. Something like that. She looked at him, really looked, though her vision was still blurred. She could see his shape, the dark of his hair, the general outline of his face. You're taller than I imagined. Is that good or bad? Neither, just different. She studied the blurred image of him. Describe your face to me, like I used to imagine it. Oh, that's a weird request. Humor me. Alex sat beside her on the fountain's edge. I look tired. I look like someone who's been lying his whole life and finally got caught. I look like I'm trying to figure out how to be better, but don't have a manual for it. That's honest. That's all I have left. Emma reached out, touched his face. Her fingers traced features she couldn't see clearly. The sharp jawline, the serious mouth, the lines around his eyes. You look sad, she said softly. I am sad. Because you lost me? Because I hurt you. She pulled her hand back. I want to try. But I need you to understand something. Anything. If you lie again, about anything, even something small, I walk away. No second chances. No explanations. Just done. I understand. And if I walk away, you let me go. No grand gestures, no showing up places, no trying to fix it. You respect my choice. I will. I mean it, Alex. I know. He paused. I promise. They sat quietly, listening to the fountain, to the city around them. Same time next week? Emma asked. I'll be here. And Alex? Yeah? Thank you for being honest. Finally. It's the least I could do. And it's the most you can do. She stood to leave, and he watched her navigate away with her cane, her vision still imperfect, her trust still broken, but maybe, possibly, rebuilding. Marcus texted him later. How'd it go? Alex, she's giving me a chance. Marcus, don't fuck it up. Alex, I won't. And for the first time in 16 weeks, he believed it might be true. A small thought to sit with. Here's something nobody tells you about lying. It's not the big deception that breaks things. It's the 1,000 small choices to keep choosing the lie. Emma didn't fall for a billionaire or a struggling artist. She fell for a person, someone who'd learned to describe the world without corporate speak, who'd burned pasta and laughed about it, who'd sat in a hospital waiting room because there was nowhere else he wanted to be. That person was real. The lies around him weren't. Love isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest about your imperfections. It's about letting someone see the parts of you that are scared and stuck and struggling and trusting they'll stay anyway. Alex learned that lesson the hard way. Emma learned that trust, once broken, is rebuilt in inches, not grand gestures. Sometimes love is just showing up week after week, being honest when it hurts, staying, even when it's easier to leave. They didn't get a fairy tale ending. They got something messier and more real, a chance to try again, with no guarantees, with all the flaws visible. Because some things don't end perfectly, they end honestly. And maybe that's better. This story is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to real people or events is purely coincidental.